Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our continued video series. We've hosted a handful of webinars recently for both travel and high school coaches and also for student athletes and parents, which are posted on, right here in our blog. So if you'd like to see the recordings, feel free to check those out. From those and also from some of the questions that we've been getting from families over email, live chat, on the phones, we're going to do another series of videos and posts on the questions that we're getting most frequently and also on important areas of focus for student athletes who are looking to advance their recruiting. The topic here will be scheduling your exposure for recruiting this summer. Scheduling for an uncertain summer is incredibly difficult for student athletes and families who are navigating the recruiting process. There's no doubt about that. No one knows what this summer's calendar will look like yet, and the only safe bet is that it won't look exactly like the perfectly planned summer of recruiting exposure that you laid out in December and January with your travel coach and your parents and your pitching coach. Um, it's going to be necessary to be flexible, and it's also going to be really important to be very selective in the events that you do target to make sure that they're delivering the efficiency necessary during our shortened recruiting cycle. So first, a few notes about the high academic recruiting process already. For student athletes who are targeting high academic programs, the recruiting process already looks a little bit different than that of your teammates and requires specialized exposure and additional considerations when choosing an event or choosing the opportunities that would be best for you. For you, it's not just about getting exposure willy-nilly to whatever schools happen to be at a tournament or something, but rather targeting your exposure to focus on the schools that are on your lists and also to get in front of schools that have a similar profile to the schools that are already on your list. Quite honestly, this is exactly why Head First Honor Roll camps exist and have had success over the years. They deliver guaranteed exposure to a curated list of high academic schools, which gives both student athletes and recruiting college coaches the efficiency they need to be effective in their recruiting. They're getting in front of a certain type of college coach, and these college coaches are seeing a certain type of academic profile to assess for their programs. The good news and the bad news for high academic student athletes in the current times. First, the good news. You are already used to thinking critically about the exposure opportunities in front of you. So needing to do so this summer is nothing new to you. The bad news is that refocusing and doubling down on targeting the right events during a potentially shortened recruiting cycle will require even more judicious and potentially difficult decisions in how you're spending your time and recruiting budget this summer. Um, when we talk about efficiency and exposure, the key point of this, the first bullet that we'll touch on is the right schools. So getting efficient exposure in your recruiting is a combination of guaranteeing access to the programs that are already on your list and also growing your list to see some other lookalike schools that could also offer a great college fit. And this is what we mean when we say the right schools. It's more than just the programs you already know about. It's also the schools that have a lot in common with those programs, but that are, in a different part of the country or don't have the same name as the ones that you're used to and that are already on your list. Um, and so they might not be on your radar yet. The right schools means getting guaranteed exposure to a wide variety of programs from across Division One to Division Three ladder, but having them all be focused around a potential great academic fit. This year more than ever, it's going to be really, really important for student athletes to prioritize the exposure opportunities that put them in front of not just any schools, but the right schools so that you as a student athlete can gain this efficiency when you need it most. You already need it before going through this as a high academic student athlete, but now with the potential for a shortened recruiting summer, it's even more important to focus in on this efficiency. The next piece of this efficiency is finding the right format and the tools at a specific showcase or camp to put you in a place to succeed. To really make strides in your recruiting, it's also really important this summer to focus on opportunities that deliver more than just coaches' eyeballs. Coaches' eyeballs are a really important starting point, but in a summer when recruiting college coaches are going to make decisions, they're going to need to make decisions more quickly. Whereas in the past, they might have been able to see you play 3, 4, or 5 times over the course of the summer at different tournaments, camps, showcases. They might need to be making these decisions more quickly after seeing you play 2 or 3 times and not having those extra opportunities. So they need more complete insights more quickly. It doesn't mean that they're going to be making rash decisions. It just means that they're going to have to be as comfortable with the decisions they make on a shorter timetable. Which for most programs means having access to your video, as well as having some level of data and analytics that they can use to deepen their understanding of your play. It will be key this summer to prioritize whenever possible the opportunities that you have to give coaches a complete look at you as a player beyond simply the chance to see you on the field. Data and analytics can really help coaches put numbers to what they're seeing on the field so that they aren't purely relying on the eye test, right? Putting data to what they're seeing gives coaches more comfort in making recruiting decisions because they have deeper insight into not only who you are now as a player, but your on-field potential and who you will become. They can see you play the outfield, but if they also pair that with this 60-yard dash time or this home to first time, or they say, this kid has a great arm, and they pair that with this overhand throwing velocity, or they think you have pop and they pair it with, this blast data or this batted ball velocity exit data. That's the sort of stuff that can give them a more well-rounded insight. Video is another way to gain efficiency in your recruiting because it can help you scale your recruiting outreach. If during an uncertain summer that is sure to feature a lot of restructuring, changing plans, potentially cancellations, if you're unable to get in front of a specific coach or program, you can always use video as a first step to get your foot in the door to create some initial interest from that program. So prioritizing this summer, getting good quality video can really help you both over the summer and through the fall and winter as you progress through the recruiting process. One other note on video is it can effectively put you in front of the entire coaching staff at your target program. Ultimately, what we've seen in talking with our college coach partners is that the recruiting process is it's a collaborative one for a coaching staff, and it requires cross-checking and buy-in from the whole staff. And there are simply too many prospective student athletes for these coaches to see for it to be the work of a single person. Coaching staffs will have as many people as they can out on the recruiting trail so that they're able to maximize the number of players that they're able to see and evaluate. Especially this summer when they could be facing calendar restrictions as well, it's even more important for programs to leverage their entire coaching staff to see as many players as possible during what might be a shortened window. If you have video in addition to the in-person exposure that you target this summer, it can help the coach who saw you play the cross-check game with the rest of the staff. For example, if you come to an honor roll camp and you meet the recruiting coordinator, they can then pull up your Next Pro video for camp, which is distributed to all college coaches who attend our camps for free. They can pull up your video in the baseball office for the entire staff to see. And see what they saw when they were at camp, so they can get a sense of what the coach who was there saw, so they can make some next decisions on you as well. I hope that this talk helps in framing the conversation for families and student athletes around recruiting exposure this summer. And again, when we believe efficiency is going to be more key than ever. Stay tuned for the next couple videos coming up. They're going to address some of the most frequently asked questions that we're getting right now from student athletes and parents. Thank you.